Well, good Friday morning, everyone. This is May 8th, and the lectionary lessons for this Sunday include 1 Peter 2, 2 through 10. We've been reading our way through 1 Peter over the last few weeks, and we're picking up where we left off. And this morning I have done my own paraphrase. I invite you to take some time with this paraphrase and compare it to other paraphrases like the New Living Translation or the Message, or even to more literal translations like the New Revised Standard Version, or even the King James if that's your preference. I have shared with you previously some Bible study tools that make this very easy, including Bible Gateway, and if you haven't seen that video, I would encourage you to click this link right up here, and it will take you to that video, and it will help you to utilize that tool. So 1 Peter 2, 2 through 10. All that I've said so far means it's time for spring cleaning. Clean house. Get rid of all the bad stuff, of the junk, the worthless stuff, like ill will, hypocrisy, envy, greed, words that hurt, unkind speech, for example, gossip. Instead, since you've tasted how good and kind God really is, keep a taste for that mercy, that goodness, that grace. Stay thirsty, my friends. This is the nourishment that will enable you to mature into the likeness of Christ. Anything else is junk food at best. It's worse. Anything else is poison. Now, they cleaned house on Christ, rejecting him. But he is, by the only standard that matters, God's standard, he is what is of greatest value, a priceless gem, and a rock-solid, sure foundation. And now, though the world may clean house on you, you also are living stones, being formed by God into a most holy temple, the center for true spirituality. You are priests, offering holy sacrifices through Jesus Christ. And your worship will be acceptable, pleasing to God. Do you remember how Scripture affirms, "Pay attention, I have set the foundation, a cornerstone in the most important place, and whoever is relying on him will never come to regret it." A reference to the prophet Isaiah. Now we have come to rely on him, and no regrets. He indeed is most precious to us, more valuable than gemstones. And though the world treated him as rubble, tossing him aside, their reject, the focus of their scorn, was the thing most needed, the cornerstone. See Psalm 118. For those who rejected him, they've twisted their ankles. They've fallen flat on their faces. Again, see the prophet Isaiah, this time chapter 8. Now, this was not unexpected. We're given the ability to choose, but our choices always carry consequences. So watch your steps so that you not trip as they did. God has made you his own, a holy people, a godly people, with godly work to do, priestly duties to perform, prophetic work to fulfill, sharing with others the grace that was given. God has called you out of darkness into light. God has called you out of winter into spring. God has taken what others considered rubbish and made it a treasure beyond price. You are an Easter people, God's very own. You know what it is to receive mercy. Share it with those who are still in the dark. You might also take a look at Hosea with regard to that last bit. So I have suggested several times that questions we could ask of the text. What does it say about Jesus? What do we learn about God's grace? Where are we challenged to learn something? Where are we challenged to change? And what hymns or songs might come to mind? What does the text say about Jesus? I would suggest that this passage affirms the central, the key, the crucial role in God's purposes is occupied and fulfilled in Jesus. And that role is to convey God's mercy and grace to humankind so that we may be transformed by it. That's who Jesus is. And what do we learn about God's grace here? First, we see that it is more than forgiveness. Grace is transformative. Recipients of grace are placed into a new relationship with the world. Where are we challenged to learn something? One thing that might be a challenge for some is learning more about the Bible. There are at least 4 allusions or quotes of other passages of Scripture here. And so how will this passage transform our understanding of those passages? And how did those passages inform our approach to this passage? It's, kind of a circular movement there, allowing them to inform each other. Those passages include Isaiah 28:16, Psalm 118:22, Isaiah 8:14, and Hosea 1:6 and 9, and 2:23. The last is a reference to one of Hosea's children, whom he gave symbolic names, and this one child was given a name that meant, he was renamed, given a name that meant, you have received mercy. So it's very much a pickup in this passage of that experience in the life of the prophet Hosea. So take a look at those passages. I'll have them in the show notes, as well as, you can come back and listen to them again here, either way. But look at those while you're also comparing my paraphrase to other paraphrases and to your favorite translation. Where does the text challenge us to change? What attitudes need to change? Am I too cavalier about the most valuable treasure in all creation? I'm a coin collector. My grandfather got me started on collecting pennies, and I have collected other coins since as well. There is a coin, the most valuable of the Lincoln pennies, 1909 SVDB. If you had one of those, you wouldn't just, drop it in a jar with other coins. You wouldn't, you wouldn't treat it as unimportant. You would place it in a position of prominence. It would be a real treasure to hold on to. Do I treat Christ as a treasure of higher value than that? What's my attitude? Behavioral changes. If my attitude about Christ changes, then earnestly desiring more of God's grace, what behaviors are going to change out of that? The author uses the analogy of cleaning house, getting rid of ill will and hypocrisy and envy and greed and words that hurt. We see an awful lot of that in the world around us, and it's so easy to get caught up in it. But rather than drag the junk in, we should be doing spring cleaning. What songs come to mind as you read and hear the text? I'm going to give it some further thought and come back with another video later. Meanwhile, have a good day, and stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty for God's goodness. See you later.